Only you the man.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm starting recording now because this is already some good stuff. So
Okay.
I gotta record this. So have
Okay.
you ever done an interview together?
Yes, we did one for St. Louis.
Yep, we
For
Oh,
the
did.
St.
the
Louis
NPR one.
yeah,
And
yes.
and what's crazy is, I mean, I don't want to get too much into it, but I was listening to that to prepare, and Elaine, she mentioned me actually in the interview. I'm like, because I'm like the black running guy now in St. Louis, so everything
Amen.
running is like is Ricky because I'm like the black running guy now. So that was a
Okay.
pleasant surprise. So great.
Yes.
But was that over the phone though, correct?
Right.
Okay. This is
Yes.
the first kind of together virtual interview you've had
Yeah.
together. Okay.
Yes.
All right, cool. Well, we're
He
gonna
doesn't realize, Tony, he got two characters. This is going to be interesting.
He only has one character. That's you.
I
this is
bring out the inner character of Tony, though.
Yes.
this is gonna be fun. Okay. Before we dive in, I'm gonna just introduce myself. I'm Ricky Hughes. I am founder of STL Run Crew, the only black one of the only black led run crews in St. Louis that I'm aware of. And I don't want to get into too much, but you all have truly inspired me and so many others in St. Louis. I'll tell you how here in a bit, but um like I said, I'm like the black running guy now because, as you know, like it's a super white sport historically, and like our crew is like super diverse in terms of like not only like race but ability and age and gender. And running has truly changed my life. Like I can't even put into words how much running has completely changed my life, and in turn is changing St. Louis lives, and you all are a huge part of that. And we're gonna get into that first. So I'm gonna do a brief kind of like intro. Do you have any questions before we start?
No.
Nope.
Okay. All right. Bah, bah, bah. We are live. I titled this interview Marathon Legends. I freestyled that, but it is nothing but the truth. Um, we have today Tony Reed and Lisa Davis, who are arguably two of the most decorated and inspiring athletes. I didn't say black athletes, I said athletes in the world. And they have truly made their impression not only on the city of St. Louis, but the world. I'll let them introduce themselves and all their accolades, but they are hat trickers. If you don't know what the hat tricker is, it is someone who has completed over 100 marathons, completed a marathon in all 50 states. And I'm sitting with the first black man, the first black woman to complete a marathon in 7 continents. And obviously, I need to get
Well,
my
I'm not
medal
the
game
first
up.
to complete. I don't think I'm the first black
no.
woman to complete, but I'm the fastest.
Yes.
Oh, you're fast. Which
Yeah.
is
So
more.
I'm the first black male. Well, I'm the
Okay.
first black to finish marathons on all 7 continents. And Lisa just came behind me and she became the fastest woman to run marathons on all 7 continents in
Yeah.
7 days, 30 minutes, 27 seconds.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes.
That's that math background there, huh,
that's
Tony?
what it is.
The
Uh,
numbers.
and everything happened 10 years apart.
It
So
sure.
Wow.
I went to Clark School
Yeah.
10 years before Lisa, and Lisa set her world record 10 years after I became the first black to finish marathons on all 7 continents.
Wow.
Play
So
that
Wow.
in
we're doing everything 10 years apart. And so hopefully she'll be retiring 10 years.
You manifesting that, huh?
Oh, yeah, Tony.
Yes.
He a character.
So speaking of numbers, you kind of alluded to it, and kind of where I want to start with, like your origins being in St. Louis. The chances of what you just mentioned with you two doing what you did in the marathon community in those 7 continents both from St. Louis and went to the same elementary school. Have you all played the lottery? Because the chances of that, I mean, Tony, you probably know probability wise, it's gotta be very improbable. How important is you all's relationship now with that? And give me some of your best memories of growing up in St. Louis.
Wow. Well, there are only 60 people in the world who had done the marathon hat trick. So the odds of two people even from the same being from the same city is really truly the odds are just really tiny. So the odds of us going to the same elementary school is even tinier. And the fact that when I went to Clark, my mother worked right across the street at Soldan High School. She was a Principal Nelson's secretary. So every day after school, I was walking across over the street to Clark, waiting for her to finish work. And I have a brother who's 13 months older, so he was there also. And I remember one fall seeing these guys running up and down the stairs there at Soldan High School. So they would run from the basement up to the third floor, loop around the third floor, and run down the stairs on the other side. I was just thoroughly impressed by their endurance and thought they were absolutely crazy. But I learned that that was a cross country team. So that part of St. Louis was flat, so that was the only way they could really get in a good hill workout. And so that was my first introduction into distance running. And then one day, the cross country coach came in my mother's office to get his paycheck, and she introduced us, and his name was Ron Gregory. And when he left, she goes, "Oh, that's Dick Gregory's younger brother." So Dick Gregory's younger brother ended up influencing me as a distance runner in the third grade, just kind of opening up my eyes to this interesting sport. And so it's been a really, really small world. And later on, when I was at the starting line of my very first marathon in 1982, there were about 400 runners and only 5 blacks. And the white runners around me started telling me that I was in the wrong race, that, I was running the wrong distance. And they didn't realize that Dick Gregory was one of my role models. And I knew that he ran from LA to New York in 1976. And I figured if he can run 3,500 miles and average 41 miles a day, what's running one marathon? Only 26.2 miles in one day. So, the folks there in St. Louis kind of motivated and inspired me to pursue distance running. And then what was the year that Lisa and I first met? And
I first saw the National Black Marathoners in Richmond. What year did you guys do Richmond?
That was 2013. That was the first year that we had the National Black Distance Running Hall of Fame.
That's right. And then when did you do Spokane?
That was the next year.
And that's where the first time I think we took pictures and all that, and it was hot as lava. I remember that race. It was good.
Yes.
So you mentioned you were inspired because you saw Black folks running. And you had, you met Ron Gregory. Lisa, who were some of your role models that got you, because sometimes we don't know what's possible until we see someone doing it. Who did you see that allowed you to?
You're not gonna believe it. It was not an athlete. It was Oprah. So I was running in, Marine. I'm a 24-year, Marine Corps veteran. So I did 24 years active duty service as a Marine. He left. He said the road is closed and he's gone. He's back. He's back. Did I lose you, Ricky?
No, I'm here. I'll tell you what I did in a second. But I'm sorry to interrupt. Oprah. Okay. So you saw Oprah.
Yeah. So Oprah ran the Marine Corps marathon.
Okay.
And so I had done plenty of half marathons. I don't think I knew any Black people. Let me back up. not an African American. I knew Ethiopian and all that, but I didn't know any African American people personally who had done a marathon. I just didn't know. It just wasn't on my radar. But I was doing half marathons, and so when Oprah ran the Marine Corps marathon, I was like, I am an active duty Marine. I think I was the captain at the time, and I've never done a marathon. And Oprah, who's a billionaire, is not an athlete. She and I are both shaped hippie. You know what I'm trying to say? We're the same people, right? And if Oprah can train up and go out and run the Marine Corps marathon, then guess who got to do it? Lisa got to do it. That's right, that part. And that was my mission. But my first marathon, I did it in 2002. I was 33 years old, and it was the San Diego Rock and Roll Marathon. And I went to complete that race, I think 4 times. And then I was stationed in California. And then when I came back to the East Coast, I ran the Marine Corps Marathon. And I've done the Marine Corps Marathon / 50K, because I have a 50K now, 14 times. And I beat Oprah's time like every time. Just saying.
Look,
she motivated me. She motivated.
I hope you get to tell her that one day, because I think
know she really totally motivated me. It's different to see, the Kips and all the people, like, man, they do think they're born into it. Like, look at their legs, look at Meb. You look at them and say they were born runners. Oprah had to work to train and earn, you know what I mean? She set up like I'm set up. So I saw her and said, I can do it. She's doing it. She's proof it can be. You work at it, you can do it.
Yeah.
It's funny. I grabbed this book behind me called The First Ladies of Distance Running. Yeah, the First Ladies of Running. And so he interviewed 21 different women. Oprah was the person he said that had the biggest influence on women distance running in the world.
Hear that, Ricky?
So it's a Black woman that had the biggest influence.
That, amen.
Wow.
Because you know why? It's the person that looked like everybody else that we can always sit back and eat popcorn and watch TV. Say, yeah, I can see how that guy did that. Yeah, he was born in Africa, and he grew up running from here to there, this and the third. That's not Oprah's story. That is just not her story. So when you see somebody was in a struggle like you are, I'm talking physically and physical fitness, not monetarily, and you think, okay, she's proof the average person can pull this off.
That's it. And I'm inspired by that. So I'm listening to you talk about the folks that inspired you, but I want to tell you too that when I started running distance in the pandemics, like 2021, it changed my life. I went down a rabbit hole and I found both of you. And I have told so our run crew now, we had like 200 people come out last Tuesday. It's like growing extremely large, but I tell especially Black men and women that I can about you two, because before I saw you two, I hadn't known anyone that had ran a marathon. So I went from not knowing no one that ran 0 marathons to researching y'all and saying y'all did what? I'm like, well, if they can do 100, I can do 1. That's how I felt, how you felt about Oprah. I'm like, if they can do 100, I can do 1. And now I'm training for my second marathon. So my question is, how does it feel for you all now to be role models that you once had to me and us?
Oh my goodness.
Wow. I don't know. I kind of like to put it in perspective. When we had an expo booth set up at a race, and this Black guy kind of walked by and he looked at the booth for the National Black Marathoners Association, and then he literally walked by 2 or 3 times before he finally stopped in the booth. And he approached me and he said, so what's this thing about your Hall of Fame? He says, can I get in your Hall of Fame? And I says, well, tell me about yourself. And he says, well, I've done 60 marathons. And I said, that's nice. I've done 120. that black guy sitting over there has done 300. That one has done 600, and they're not in the Hall of Fame. And the thing that I explained to the guy is, well, when I asked him, I says, how many black runners do you know? And he says, well, I really don't know that many.
Yeah.
And I said, once you get out there and you really start meeting people and talking to people, I said, for me, I find out I can't have an ego.
That's right.
Because there's someone who has done more than them. I mean, how can I have an ego with running 132 marathons and Lisa's sitting right up there with over 200? And I said, so the more you know about the history, the less of an ego that you actually have, and the more you appreciate, what you've done as well as the work that other people have done. So I ran my first marathon in 1982. Lisa ran her first one 20 years later, but she's run twice as many, almost twice as many as I've actually done. Right. So there's room for everyone in the running community. Some people have only done one marathon. Meb Keflezighi has only done 26 marathons. But he also won. He also won the New York Marathon, the Boston Marathon. I got an Olympic medal. Yeah. So it's, yes, you end up literally respecting everyone and not having an ego about any of your accomplishments.
Thank you, Tony. How about you, Lisa? Especially, we have a few black women in our crew, and like before I met you, I didn't have like a case study to show someone like what the endless possibilities that we have. So I've sent your links to like your Google Lisa Davis, and it shows people like, dang, the first thing, like, she from St. Louis? They're from St. Louis? Like, that's what blows people away. So I want to answer the question too, but it's why this is so important for like me. I know you are good at championing each other and pushing back, and but you too have been pioneers, and so I'm able to show people in St. Louis what two St. Louis folk have been able to do, and like in comparison, that's just like so empowering, not only for me but St. Louis. But Lisa, I mean, when you were watching Oprah and you were like, oh, she can do it, I could do it, but now I know at least there's one young lady I know for a fact, Alex, ran her first marathon last year, and the pre communication before that was her researching you and seeing what you did, and then she's training for her second marathon this year. So I want to let you know, like, that's what it is now. Like, you all's legacy is bleeding into St. Louis in a real way. And how does that make you feel?
Well, wow. I didn't know all that, but I have to echo what Tony says. I don't consider myself like a role model or anything like that. I'm happy that I'm inspiring and motivating people, but I feel like I'm in the struggle every day. I got up this morning and ran and got caught in the rain, had to run in the storm. And I'm on a struggle bus. I go hard every day. And I will tell you, it's really easy for people to talk to you and ask you about your accomplishments, but I had a lot of setbacks and failures too. And because I'm not a Meb, I'm not any of those people. And it's a give and a take and a struggle, and you stay in the fight. So I'm glad that I inspire people, but I think I would want people to know even more about the stuff that I've done. It's easy to look up, but you can't look up and find the things that I did not do well and had to go back and redo those type of things. Because and I say that because it's easy to say, oh wow, I've had people actually say this. Well, you can run because you can do this, this, and this. Don't take away from the fact that I'm working hard for every step I take. I have not been gifted in this sport. I work hard in this sport. Please understand that. I am not a natural runner. I was clumsy growing up, very clumsy. I'm still clumsy. I fall almost all the time. Running and I like to do a lot of like running in the trees and stuff like that, the trail, and I like
ultras.
Yeah, my
ultras,
100-mile races, I've done I've done 4 100-mile races. 3 of them were on a trail. And I failed for all those hours I was out there running, but I still did it. But my point is, don't just look at what I've done. Look at the training and the effort that I've put in. Let that motivate you, because trust me, in this running journey, you're going to have a bad day. I don't care what you do to train. I always show up for the training. I've never started a race thinking I didn't train enough. I'm always going hard on the training, but sometimes Mother Nature doesn't show up for you properly. You just have an off day. You never know, and so depending on the distance, it may not be what you want that day. I remember my first 100-mile race. It was a torrential downpour and I was running from Key West to what is it? No, Key Largo to Key West. So it was the Florida Keys 100. And it was a torrential downpour. Florida gets rain, but it didn't stop for like 6 hours. So I had chafing and blisters all over my body. And I probably ran 30 miles further than I should have before stopping. Long story short, destroyed my feet. Totally destroyed. I had to walk around in flip-flops. I was in the military. I couldn't wear my uniform, my boots. My feet had to seep. I had blisters upon blisters. I tore all the skin off the bottom of my feet. And so my point to you is that I went 75 miles and didn't finish the race. And oh, by the way, at the aid station, they said, you can still finish. If you can just walk, you can finish this race because you're so far ahead on the pace. I could not walk. You hear what I'm trying to tell you? So I left and I had wheeled out because I couldn't walk out. And I came back the next year and I finished that race with no problems, none whatsoever. I actually finished like 2 hours early, something like that. That was no problem because the weather cooperated. But my point is, if I'm inspiring somebody, let me inspire the person that tried the first time and didn't finish and then gave up. Don't do that. There's a lot of failure behind this smile. A lot of chances to come back and get it right. So Tony, I tell you, he still go out and run tomorrow. It was hot that day, but I went out and did it. We're in the struggle. It's the struggle every day. So if nothing else, if I'm inspiring people, please understand that it's a challenge. And every day you just got to work hard at it. I'm not gifted. I do a lot of hard work, lots of it.
Yeah, yesterday I was talking with the group of about 80 students at Southern Methodist University. And I was telling them that the lessons and the things you go through from running, you can carry that over into the business world. So I was an IT executive for about 20 years. And I remember people would say, well, why aren't you sweating in this meeting? And that's a high pressured meeting. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm in an air conditioned room. There are no animals chasing me. There's plenty of water right there to drink. I'm thinking of all these things that I don't have to deal with. That it's like people just don't know. Physical stress, to me, is a whole lot tougher to manage than mental stress. And the same thing you go through in preparing for a marathon mentally, just carry that over into the workplace. So, as they say, people were never able to see me sweat in corporate America because I'm like comparing, it's like, I'm in an air-conditioned room. It's not raining in here.
Or as the military say, I'm not getting shot at right now.
Yes.
Perspective. There's a saying I say all the time. It's the obstacle is the way. It's a stoic saying. And when I kind of look at my journey with running, I started running because I was having depression and anxiety, my mental health. I started the run crew because I was running by myself and I wanted to run with other run crews in St. Louis, and they were all white. I went to a group didn't speak to me. They handed me a route and took off. I had to GPS back to my car in downtown Clayton. I was like utterly like distraught. I remember I cried and I didn't want anyone to feel like how I felt. So I started a run crew, which is now one of the fastest growing run crews in the region, but the obstacle is the way. And Tony, I got a couple of books too now. I'm just saying. And
We
so
all read that one.
I actually, so I read this, and then I read this.
Yes.
Then I read this again because the parallels of marathoning to like your life is so like how you experience what you experienced at that very first race. Where like, why are you here? They're saying the same to you in the boardroom, right? So
Yeah.
my question is, what obstacle? What was the obstacle that was your way? Like, what could have caused you to be like, oh, I'm not even going to run because they're saying I'm not supposed to be here. When you at least when you're at that ultra marathon and they're like, I think if you were like, are you here for the
100 mile, right?
you like, no,
Right,
I'm for the 100. Like,
right.
you could have said, oh, maybe I'm not for the 100. Instead, you went crazy. Okay. So what was the obstacles that became your way in your life?
Okay. Well, the thing that got me started, the thing that really got me into distance running was when I was about 8, I was diagnosed as having a pre-diabetic condition. And the doctor said I would go on insulin by the time I was a teenager. Um, in college, in fact, at Wash U, I read the book Aerobics and later New Aerobics by Dr. Kenneth Cooper. And there was one paragraph in the book that said diabetics who are dependent on insulin could decrease their insulin intake or go completely off of it if they maintain a fitness program. So the thing that I tell people, I stress to them that I'm not in distance running to race. I'm in distance running to save my life. While I was in high school, there was a cook at a barbecue restaurant. In fact, it's off of Clayton Road called McQuarrie's. And over the course of several years, the cook had his toes amputated, his leg amputated, got his eye taken out due to glaucoma, and he died. And I don't think Bill was even 45 years old. Ooh. So I was in high school at the time, and I'm sitting up here thinking, I don't want to be like that. So in 1976, I set a lifetime goal of averaging 3 miles a day of running. And last year in Berlin, I logged mile number 50,000. And I had averaged exactly 3 miles a day. Now, think about this, starting in 1979 is when I kept this journal. And last week, I turned 69 and I'm still not on insulin. So my goal has never changed. 100 miles a month, or again, roughly 3 miles a day. The marathons and everything, that was like stuff that was on the side. That was not my major focus or purpose behind running. It has always been for me to avoid diabetes. In fact, the medals that are behind me, you can't see this picture, but for years, those medals were toys for my grandkids. That's kind of how I thought about them. You know, they were nice to have, but that wasn't the reason that I was actually running.
Mm-hmm. That's
and
what. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and my other role model was Benjamin Coleman, my great grandfather. So he was born in 1840 in Port Gibson, Mississippi. So he was a slave for the first 25 years of his life. And I could just imagine him standing there on the plantation in Port Gibson, Mississippi. And the white slave owner is telling him, you can't run. I don't want you to run far. You know, because let's face it, if he could run far, he could run to freedom. And I visualized them also coming up with this thing that I hear even today. Black folks don't swim. Mm-hmm. But you think about it. If you could run far and you could swim, you can run to freedom. You can swim across that river where freedom is just on the other side. So I saw when the white guys around me at the start line of that first marathon were telling me that I was in the wrong race. I reflected back on Benjamin Coleman. Says, you guys are trying to put me in a box. You're trying to tell me what I'm not capable of doing. But I don't want to live in a box that you're putting me in. I know what I'm capable of doing. And so I never let people really get to me, people who want to put me in a box. and say what I can and can't do. In fact, that's the worst thing you could try to do is put me in a box, because I'm definitely going to step out of it.
And the proof is right behind you. I know I got to step my mental game up a little bit now, Tony. I got to step it up a little bit. I'm just saying, but thank you for that. I mean, that's truly inspiring. How about you, Lisa?
Well, I'm just going to say, Ricky, when you know, you know. You know what I'm saying? So when I showed up for that particular race that you're talking about, the 100-mile race, it wasn't my first rodeo. And I don't walk around saying what I've done and what I can do. I'm kind of like, we from the show me state. I can show you better than I can tell you, right? That part. So I'm like, you know what? Discount me. You can say whatever you want. That particular 100-mile race, it was a challenging race. It was like 10 loops. And it was a hard terrain, very hard terrain, but it was called, knock on wood, no DNF, meaning that the race director basically said, if you have the mental and emotional and physical fortitude to continue, I will let you go until you tell me you're going to stop. So let me tell you what I know, Ricky, because let me tell you how I train, and I can tell you how my mind is, how the military helped me train, how my life growing up has helped me train. I said to myself, I know one thing. If time is not an issue, I can finish this race, period. That's all I knew going into it. I'm gonna finish, because he said, as long as you don't tell me you're going to quit, I will let you keep going. That's all I had to hear. And after that, I was just like, okay, cool. This is what we're gonna do. And it was raining when we started. There was a torrential downpour, and I remember I said, well, I have all these change of clothes because they had a forecasted rain. I've learned from my first 100 miles that you got to prepare for the rain or you get blisters and so on and so forth. So I came into it with a whole different mindset. And I don't let people tell me what I'm going to do. And I don't go back and forth with them. I have nothing to say, but I have a lot to show. We from the show me state. So you know what I did? I said, okay, fine. And I'm not going to start up front. I'm going to be somewhere. I'm very under the radar and unassuming. No problem. And guess what? I came in second of all women, not my age group, second woman to finish that race. You know why? Not because I was the fastest. I was consistent. I started and I only stopped if I had to change my shoes or something. And I grabbed food and I ate on the move. I never stopped. So people, because you can take a nap, you can do whatever you want. As long as you didn't tell him that you were done with the race, he will let you come back the next morning and finish. So while the rest of them folk was asleep, I'm like, Harriet, I'm keeping it moving. I got somewhere to be, and I kept it moving. They woke up, I had less than half a loop left. They're like, she done. Yes, I am. Finished. Not only did I finish the race, I came in second.
I can only imagine how they felt like when they saw you versus when you was, they probably were just losing. They're probably still losing sleep off that, Lisa. They probably still like, I can't believe Lisa came from St. Louis and did us like that.
Sure did. Surely did. Surely did. I did.
That's amazing.
And I think there was only one other. So there were different distances: 100-mile, 100K, 50-mile, 50K, so on and so forth. And I think there was only one other Black woman that was doing the 100-mile. I think that was Jamila, but she went and took a nap. She went to sleep. So they might have all been ahead of me. But when you go to sleep and somebody else does not go to sleep, I gained 25 plus miles on you. Not going to make that up. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. It was a wrap.
That part.
They woke up and at least it's like she kept going. It's like yeah, they said she never stopped. And I did. So I wasn't fast, but I was consistent. So my whole thing is, like I said, when you know what you did to show up. I show up, I know what I'm gonna do, I know how I'm gonna do it. And the people around me, I don't care about what they say or what they're doing. I'm not even paying attention. As a matter of fact, I'm one of the people, I like to get to the race just enough time to do my gear check. If I'm going to check a bag, use the bathroom and start the race. I don't even want to hear all the rest of that. I don't want to do it. Because some people, they feel nervous and it's get contagious, or, people are aggressive or whatever. I have my own thing going into it, and that's it.
And so thank you for that. I mean, that is truly inspiring. And I just know, like, at that time, so it's a little different now. Like there are obviously more Black runners in ultra and like running, but it's still a stark difference. But I'm sure now you can probably look on social media and see like, dang, it's a bunch of us running now. How does that feel to go from when I mean it's still gonna be some sprinkles at the marathons. It's not a lot, but I assume it's right. I assume it's I mean like a great feeling for you to like now like see like okay, even though systemically, historically, we were literally told we could not run and swim, to now we're choosing to run marathons and put ourselves through that obstacle for that way. How does that feel now seeing, I would say, the fruits of your labor? I know you guys are humble and it's not just necessarily you, but how does it feel now to just kind of look at and see the scale and like the scope of Black men and women?
I actually wonder sometimes, is it that I'm seeing more of them because I'm so connected, with all the runners from all the different running groups. National Black Marathons have a big following, and then you have 1,000 other little running groups that have, you have BMR, BGR, all these running groups. And now people show up so you connect to these people through social media, and then you've learned that they're going to a race. The next thing you know, now you can see them. It's kind of like if you buy a red Volkswagen, all you know is on the road to red Volkswagen.
Yeah.
Right? It might have always been there, I don't know, but now I guess I'm seeing more because I know more people. I see
your
them
algorithm now is a Black.
Right. Yeah. So if I open up Facebook every day, I can see every weekend somebody that looks like me then ran a race because they're doing their 50 states. There's a lot of 50 states finishers now, a bunch. And so you get to watch this, and it's like, I wonder if I were not friends with them, probably would never even notice. But now it's just like I see it all the time.
Well, I can go as far back as 1969 when I ran cross country. And then in what's that? In the mid 1970s when I ran my first distance race. In fact, it was there in St. Louis. And looking at when the Black Marathoner started in 2004, there were only 5 Black running clubs in the entire country. So you're looking at 2004, only 5 Black running clubs. We were the only national Black running organization. Now you can look at it and there are hundreds of Black running clubs, Black running crews all over the nation.
That's true.
I run here at White Rock Lake in Dallas, and when I first started running there in 1980, the only other Black runners I saw were the ones that I had trained, believe it or not. I mean, this lake is 9 miles long. I would be out there running for hours. I wouldn't see another Black runner. I went out there yesterday morning at 7 o'clock, saw 5 other Blacks out there. On any given weekend, I can go out there and see 20 or 30 between running and walking. When I used to run at Forest Park, I didn't see any of us out there. And whenever I go to St. Louis, I'll run around Forest Park or run from Warshoe to the Arch and back. And every time I see a Black runner, I'm like, going, yeah, we have done it. and in fact, in 2013, we started the National Black Distance Running Hall of Fame in order to bring attention to the accomplishments of African American runners. Because to me, other than Dick Gregory, there just weren't any other role models that were out there. And those of us who lived in St. Louis back in the day knew about Dick Gregory because we happened to live in the city. So when we started the National Black Distance Running Hall of Fame, and we started inducting Blacks, is when the white Hall of Fames started inducting these distance runners that they had overlooked. So, for example, the country's greatest long distance runner was Ted Corbett. He's African American, ran in the 1952 Olympics, started the New York Road Runners, was instrumental in starting the Road Runners Club of America, and folks hadn't heard about it. Even the New York Roadrunners had not inducted him into their Hall of Fame, and he was the one who helped founded them.
Come on.
So in 2013, we said, we're going to induct him into the first Hall of Fame class. A few months later, the New York Roadrunners decided they were going to induct him. And his son, Gary, is our official historian. And one of the things that we have been promoting is that Ted Corbett is the one who conceived of the idea of the 5-borough New York City Marathon. So they had been giving credit to this white guy when all along it was actually Ted Corbett. From talking with other people that we inducted into the Hall of Fame, they suddenly started getting inducted into other distance running Hall of Fames. Their colleges and universities started recognizing their athletic accomplishments and started inducting them in their Hall of Fames. The other person that we inducted along with Ted was Marilyn Bevins. So Marilyn Bevins is the first African-American woman to run a marathon in under 3 hours. And not only did she run marathons in under 3 hours, she came in second at the Boston Marathon and second in the Chicago Marathon in 1977. So we brought her to life and started letting people know about her accomplishments. And Runner's World even asked me to write an article about Marilyn. And now Marilyn, after all these years, is finally getting the recognition and attention that she deserves for being a distance runner. A lot of people that are my age may have known that, President Jimmy Carter was the first American president to ever run in a road race. But what people didn't know, that road race was won by a Black man and a Black woman. And Marilyn Bevins was the woman that won that road race. So there are lots of stories that are out there of African Americans who have done some really great things. And we wanted to create the Hall of Fame to show people, to create role models for this next generation coming up so that they can say, oh, if Elisa Harvey, the year she turned 40, could run a mile in under 4.5 minutes, think about, what other Black women could do if they went ahead and just stuck with the sport. So
yes, you don't know until you know. And I think I appreciate you all and I appreciate you, Tony, for creating that and telling those stories, because I mean, even this is going to be documented and saved somewhere, hopefully that lasts forever. So folks that didn't know, now they know. And I say it again, I know you mentioned like the role models of Dick Gregory, and whether you like it or not, Lisa, you two are role models. In fact, I'm gonna do is kind of what created this energy is trap run. So it's to my knowledge the only Black led run a 5K in St. Louis. It's really cool because there's 12 DJs throughout the route, so it's like really like vibrant and fun. It was actually also my first 5K ever in 2021, and I won my age group, and I said, oh man, I kind of still got it, and that's really like kind of lit the fire. And then so I ran it, and then the year after I was an ambassador, and I am this year as well. So, and you all, as you know, are being highlighted as St. Louis legends in the sport. And hopefully this is going to be the moment where I think last year we had close to over 500 runners, and this year we're looking for 800. So at least 800 plus folks are going to know now Tony Reed, Lisa Davis. What does that mean for you to because I feel the same way as you felt about Marilyn Bevins, that you two don't get enough acknowledgement because you don't know until you know it. I went down this rabbit hole to research and educate myself, but now I'm doing my due diligence as a St. Louis Black man to make sure other men and women know you all. So how does that feel to be, giving your flowers in St. Louis, a city that loves you dearly?
Oh,
well, I'm actually planning to be there for the race.
I heard that, but I ain't want to jinx it, but I heard that.
It's crazy. My sister who lives in St. Louis, she's actually a podiatrist there, Dr. Tracy Reed. she's actually going to be in Dallas at that time, and I'm going to be there in St. Louis. So we're going to be going to each other's
Each other
cities. Yes, that particular weekend. So yeah, I'm looking forward to being there and just kind of meeting people. It's going to be great. I was just up there for my 50-year high school reunion.
Tony's going there to get the White Castles. I'm gonna put it out
Okay,
there. Since we're
well,
keeping this as history, let's just go ahead and
okay,
throw it out
The
there.
cat's out the bag, Tony.
I'm just gonna throw
yes.
that out there just in case for the people in the cheap seats didn't get the message. Tony's going to get him a White Castles burger or two.
Uh,
I'm
um,
getting a number one with the 4 White Castle cheeseburgers, fries, and a drink.
oh, you've been dreaming about that, huh, Tony?
Oh, I can tell you every White Castle, once you hit Eureka, Missouri, is the first one you get to driving in from Dallas.
Lisa, I don't know what your schedule look like, and I don't got this. I can make this call, but is it anything we can do to get you here? Can we put, five something on your plane ticket?
Yeah, if you put someone a plane ticket, I'll show up and run the race. I told Tony, you can drive all day now. You don't have to worry about being at nobody's job. I said, but I got a budget. I'm in Virginia. I'm
Yeah.
not I'm not one state over. I'm a lot of states over. And I told him, I said, well, yikes. I didn't budget for the St. Louis one. I'm sorry.
Yes, no. Well, in lieu of that though, how does it feel to, be highlighted in one of our biggest local races?
That is great. That's great. And I have family that's still there. I have a cousin. My dad is there. So I guess it's pretty cool. It's settling into my brain housing group, as we call it in the military. That's pretty nice. And like I said, I hope that it is inspiring somebody. I hope that they hear our story and they think, wow, I can do this, and they continue to do it. So I hope that every year your race gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger because of the seeds that you're planting.
Thank you. I truly appreciate that. And it takes a village, and I like to feel like whether y'all know it or not, y'all part of my village, so
Okay.
I truly appreciate it. And just this was not in my notes, but I'm training for a Chicago Marathon, my second marathon.
I'm running Chicago.
Are you from Chicago?
I'm running Chicago Marathon.
No, you're not.
I am. It'd be like my 8th Chicago Marathon.
Well, I'm running. Well, I'll be right. I gotta find you. I gotta find you.
I'll be there. At some point. I'll be there.
So since you're running 8, 7 or 8 times, what insight do you have as because my very first marathon, like I pieced some stuff together, but now I have like a 2-year, like I built my base. I've been running for 2 years, so I feel a lot better. But any insight you would give to a marathoner just kind of just getting their foot in the game?
Well, you've already run 2 marathons. You're not just
no. I ran one. It's my second.
Okay, well, I'm claiming the second one. So is the second one Chicago? Is that going to be your second one, Chicago?
Yeah.
What was your first one?
Go St. Louis in St. Louis.
I did that race. I did it.
Yeah,
I did that one.
I did that one twice.
Okay.
I didn't go St. Louis. I will tell you to go St. Louis marathon. That course is harder than Chicago pancake flat.
Yes. But I heard that can kind of like suck you in though. It can get you running fast, and the crowd can get you like overly hyped and overly.
Okay, so that's true. So here's the deal. This is what I was telling you about being in your own space, right? It's one of 2 things you can do. Do you have a Garmin?
Yeah, I have a Cloro, so same thing.
Not sure who that is, but let me just tell you this.
It's like a Garmin. It's like Android iPhone. It's just the other.
Gotcha.
I got a running watch. A good one. Yeah.
Well, I can't even talk. My watch is about 10, 12 years old, but it's kicking like a ninja.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix.
That part. I'm on a budget. I got to keep it. Anyway, so my point is you set your pace so that if you go crazy because of the crowd and the adrenaline, it'll beep you and you listen. You pull back. I don't run with music. I don't know if you do. I have no place for that. So you have to stay on your own game. It's your race, your pace on your own game. If that doesn't work, purposefully seed yourself towards the back of your corral. So therefore, you're not shot out of the starting line like a bullet and you're going harder than you're supposed to. Purposefully slow down on the first part of the race. I will tell you the best races are the ones you have a negative split. You start slow and get faster as you build. Don't go out thinking I'm going to build up some time. I'm a bank so I can cruise at the end. That never works that way. I would say every marathon that's ran is a negative split involved, right? It's people who win it. So go out with the mentality, I'm going to pace myself to how I've been training, because you've already done the training. You know what your training is like. You're being consistent with your base miles. So, you know, you're not slacking on those. So you know what your pace is like. So go into it thinking, I'm going to run my race at my pace, not the crowd's pace, not the people in my corral pace. Because guess what? A lot of those people will start out fast and you'll see them walking at mile 18. Tony, am I right?
You're absolutely
I've
right.
asked many of people that started in the corral with them, and I've seen a lot of them later on, and they look toe up from the flow up. Why? Because they didn't run their own race. You got to go out there with the mentality, your race. You know what you did for training. They don't know what you did. Do you?
Yes. And make sure that you have a nutrition plan.
Oh, you have to be practicing
Yeah.
training.
Yeah. One of the things I pointed out to the group yesterday was the average person consumes 2,400 calories a day. The average person burns 120 calories a mile. So you kind of just do the quick math and you figure that you're going to burn up at 20 miles, which is ironically when they talk about hitting the wall. So you're going to have to make sure that you're maintaining your nutrition throughout the race so that, you know, when that magical wall hits, you're not going to hit the wall.
Right.
Because you've been fueling properly all along the way.
And hydrating properly all along the way. There is no wall to hit.
I'm literally taking notes. Yes, I'm literally taking notes.
Yeah.
That is the perfect thing what Tony just said. That's the perfect thing. Because I will tell you, I no longer hit the wall. I don't hit walls. Because I start out slow, gain my pace as I go along, and I stay on top of my nutrition and my hydration. That's the key.
And see, when you get older, you start off slow and you finish slow, like I do now.
but you keep it consistent, Tony. That's that consistency. That's that consistency.
And it's funny. Chicago was the first marathon that I ran that was outside of the state of Texas. I had run 47 marathons before I ventured outside the state. And Chicago was a marathon that let me know I like the small races. So I've run 10 marathons that have fewer than 50 people. And I enjoyed those marathons the most because after the gun sounded, it was just literally me by myself running 26.2 miles through some of the most beautiful scenery that's around.
And
so you have to get caught up in somebody else's pace and everything else because it was like a normal training run, right? But they set the course for you.
Yes.
Yes, awesome. Oh, I'm sorry. Happy belated birthday, Tony.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome. July 2nd, correct? July 2nd?
Yes.
You turned 36, 37? Something.
Yeah, I turned 36 for the 45th. No, for the 40th. No.
Yeah, that math.
Yeah, it's been out there. Yeah,
you're really trying to think
about that.
You're really trying to equate that to a
I mean, but if you're gonna lie big. I turned 16. Just throw it out
there. I truly could really talk to you all day, and I really appreciate. I can't wait to meet you all in real life. Lisa, whether that's St. Louis or the VA or the DMV somewhere, or Chicago.
I will be there. I'm going to be there.
That's awesome. So I have a couple just like favorite questions, and then I'm gonna open up any last thoughts you all have. And again, I truly appreciate you. So I know you've ran literally hundreds of races. One, and you only got 3 seconds to think. No time, no favorite race. Tony first.
Monterey.
My favorite race.
What was that? I'm sorry, I missed it.
The Big Sur in Monterey, California. Boom.
Big Sur. Oh, that was easy.
Yeah.
Okay. So mine would be the French Riviera Marathon.
That's
It
nice.
runs from Nice to Cannes. You have the beautiful Mediterranean on your left the entire race, beautiful French villas on the right the entire time. The temperature that day, the low was 54 and the high was 56.
That's perfect.
It's just perfect race.
Perfect.
Beautiful scenery.
Okay. Favorite pair of running shoes you ever run in?
Oh my God, I can't answer
Oh
that.
gosh.
That's tough. That's tough. I have so many. If I showed you my shoes right now, I can tell you two brands, Hoka
Okay.
and Brooks, but
Okay.
I alternate
Okay.
depending on the run. And I say that very sincerely because I have a shoe that I use for my long runs. I have a shoe that I use just for my regular base, miles. I have one for my tempo and one for my speed work. I have different shoes.
If you're going on a desert island, Lisa, you can only bring one shoe.
Just one?
One shoe that you got to do easy, daily, and you got to run like a 10K in.
God. It might be a Hoka.
Okay.
It might be my Hoka.
Clifton.
No, which one do I have over here? Hold on, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, here a second. How about you, Tony?
Well, right now I'm running in Brooks Adrenaline.
Okay, that's a good shoe.
That's always a loaded question to ask because the only reason I will change a style of shoe is when they stop making that particular style, or the manufacturer will do something different.
That is the truth.
So I've run
in. You're right. It's the Clifton. How did you know?
Because I'm a sneakerhead turned runner. So literally, I ain't gonna show y'all my little shoe case. Like I love running. Everything about running, the fashion, the shoes, the community. I just figured the Clifton is kind of like a neutral shoe that
it's perfect. But I look at the bottom of this shoe. You see that? Look what I did.
Looks like you ran an ultra in those.
And I don't run. I think I might have had this shoe 2 months. This is the damage that I do. This is the damage, and these are the shoes that I was racing in the Brooks. This is a launch. Okay. This is the launch. Okay. I was racing that. And then I have the Brooks. It's the Ghost Max. It's the Christian one. Look at Tony laughing. I have the shoes, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing: you cannot have longevity in running and have cheap shoe choices.
Yes.
Take that to the bank, people. You have to. Don't worry about your shirt and your shorts. Get your shoe game.
Yes.
That is so. I'm so go.
I was gonna say, yeah. In fact, like I said, I've been keeping a running journal since 1979. And one of the things that I learned was I have to get rid of my running shoes every 200 miles, regardless of what they look like, because the bottom of it may look all right, but the cushioning is just shot. And every time I have stayed more than 200 miles in a pair of shoes, I end up getting injured. Now, the thing about me, though, is I weigh over 200 pounds. And so people that don't weigh as much may be able to get 250 to 300 miles out of a pair. I've even heard of people getting 400 miles. But for me, at 200 miles, I'm like, that's it. And not only that, when I buy my shoes, I buy the previous year's models. So, for example, I just ordered, was it 3 pairs of the Adrenaline 22 for $84 a pair. If I bought the most recent version, they were $140 a pair. So I will buy 6 months or years worth of running shoes all at one time and just catch them all on sale like that. That's why when people say running is an expensive sport, if you can wear last year's running shoes, last year's model, hey, just like a car. Go after last year's, save yourself a bunch of money.
Well, I'm the person that once I find a shoe that I like, I'm gonna wear it until they change it. Sometimes they change it and you can't wear the new model. I fell in love with Hoka and then one day I divorced them. And then I was like, okay, I'm married to you again. But they would take a shoe. I've run in every Hoka. I mean, literally, my first 100-mile race was in a Hoka. And I love my Hokas. And then they changed. And I even talked to them about, say, hey, what are you doing? I know I'm keeping your kids in college. I didn't buy 100 pair of these shoes. Why would you change it? And they did it anyway. But the change made it so that I couldn't run in it. My foot didn't work in the shoe anymore. So to Tony's point, when I find a shoe that I like, so these shoes, I have plenty of them. I buy them and just stack them up in my closet because and then when they go on to the next year's model, that means this year that I have here is on sale. I'm gonna buy every size they have for me. I'm gonna buy them all.
That's it. That's so important. The shoe is so important because did it freeze? Oh, I froze. The shoe is so important because like I have a lot of new runners in our run crew that come wearing like Jordans and like Nike Air Max, but they don't know until you know. So we do a lot of like different activation with like shoe brand companies just because I want to get them in a running shoe so they can see, oh my, these Nikes I'm wearing were terrible. They're lifestyle shoes. They're not running shoes. So then they start running, then they have these like knee aches and like calf, but they don't know until you actually running a running shoe. So like shoe, what you already gave is shoe education. That is so important. So I definitely got to use that clip because coming from you all who ran the amount of races that you ran, like your wisdom is through the roof. So thank you again. I could talk to you all day, but I'm gonna end it there. I know we all got lives. Any
Okay.
last thoughts before we wrap it up here?
I guess I like to say if you don't enjoy the training, you won't enjoy the race. So embrace the training, have fun. In the race, you can also enjoy yourself during the race. I was actually training for a marathon. I wasn't telling anyone about it. Lisa knew about it. I was training for a marathon and got there and they canceled the race because of the weather. And if it wasn't for the fact that I enjoyed training for it, I would have been thoroughly upset about them canceling, about them canceling the event. So
did you run it anyway? Did you run it anyway, Tony?
no.
Okay, I thought you were about to say, but I ran the course anyway.
No.
No, okay.
If it's not going to be official, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I feel you.
I'll say this, Ricky. My last thing would be that forward is a pace and relentless forward progress. So as long as you're moving forward, you're still in the game. And then they say it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yes.
There you have it. Coming from a 5-time Boston Marathon qualifier, Tony Reed, who is one of the most decorated marathons to walk this earth, God's green earth.
And who has never qualified for Boston.
Well, yeah, I was telling Lisa, but in my heart, you know, and we could talk about the Boston and all that. That's a whole another topic. I think they got a lot of work to do in Boston with representation and all that. But I'm a BQ for you, Tony, and I'm gonna wear a jersey that says Tony Reed on the back, and we gonna run Boston one day in the next couple of years. All right, hold me to it.
Okay, I certainly will.
I got one more thing though. I know if you've ran 100, marathons every continent that you created, the 7 that you created the island marathon. At this point, you're just creating
the 5-island challenge.
You're just creating stuff at this point, right? But Lisa did say, I heard an interview that you want to run across America. When you do that, I would love to tag along. I want to say that. I don't know. Maybe I could drive for you. I want to be a part of the crew or something. I don't know. I might hop out sometimes and run with my camera with you, but I would love, if I could empower you to do that, I want to be a part of the crew.
Okay.
So I reached
that,
out.
Tony?
Yeah. So I reached out to the gentleman who ran across the U.S. with Dick Gregory, and he sent me the map that they actually used to run across it. So I have a copy now of that map.
Oh, it's getting real now, Lisa. And
hey, you ain't said nothing but a word.
All right.
Here's my fear. When I get that done, I'm like, what am I going to do next? Like, that's my big thing. Like that is like my big thing. I want to run across. There's a Facebook group called USA Crossers. And this not, I don't think I see anybody look like me on that group. But anyway, they have people who biked, ran, or walked across the United States. And so people do it, not like us people, but other, people do it. And they have different ways that they were able to pull it off. But I want to do the route that Dick Gregory did.
Well, we got the map. I can
And I
help
know what's
drive
next.
for it, let me know.
I already know what's next for you, Lisa. There's a route that goes from the tip of South America, literally taking the mountains all the way through North America, the Rocky Mountains, on up into the mountains in Canada.
Okay, so who's gonna protect me from the bear?
You get bear mace.
Very nice. There you go. Because
it sounds pretty good.
I want volunteering for that one now, Lisa.
Like, oh,
US
boy.
one, I got you. This one, I'll have to sit that one out.
I've run up a mountain before. He knows I did the Pikes Peak
Yeah.
ascent, so that was 14,000-foot mountain. I ran up that. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Last year. Yeah.
Legendary marathoners, legendary human beings. This has been a true privilege meeting you all. And I look forward to continue to evolve together. And I'll speak again on behalf of the St. Louis running community, the community at large. You are our true role models, and we appreciate
you. And I will see
thank
you
for doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Yes. I'll see you on September the 7th.
I see you on September 7th at
whatever time is you all want me there.
Okay.
At the trap run.
As I'm looking for, you got it. At the track
At
run,
the track
Tony's
run.
media train. Let's go. All right, I'm about to end that. See you September 7th. Trap run STL, year 7. 7 for 1 year for every continent y'all have ran in.
Yes. 7-7. Well, no, it's
7.
not 7. It's 9-7. It's
It's
close
9-7, but the 7 is for the 7 continents that you all have ran. Over and out. But I'm not hanging out. I'm just gonna end in the recording. Okay, boom. Okay. All right. Thank you all. That was great. I could truly talk to y'all all day.
You're welcome.
That was like
Tony is a wealth of knowledge.
You both, and I love how you all champion each other too. Like you all have like a synergy and an energy, and I truly mean it when I mean like how much you all have impacted me in St. Louis. So that is real.
Wow.
Thanks.
That's cool.
So do you know if is Ron Greger going to be able to make it?
I believe so. That's last I've heard from Aaron is that Ryan is going to be able to make it. He knows about it. Aaron actually had a hard time getting in contact, but he actually ran to him at Home Depot, and he agreed that he was gonna come. So that's gonna be a full circle moment. I hope that happens and it can get you all back together. So
I actually had reconnected with the young lady that I met in the 3rd grade at Clark School. And do you know Linda Williams? Or have you heard of her?
It doesn't ring
I
a bell.
remember her.
Yeah, so she was with the Annie Malone Children's Home.
Okay.
And now she is over the Annie Malone Historical Group or something there in St. Louis.
Okay.
Her son was a videographer. He ended up being a videographer for when we did the Ron Gregory interview there in St. Louis.
Wow, that's full. Now that's another added to this whole a lottery that y'all need to play because.
And her sister was almost Ron Gregory's wife.
Almost his wife.
Yeah, she was actually my girlfriend in high school.
Oh, wow.
That was Linda. That was Linda, not her sister.
Okay. Cool.
So
Thanks.
It's some crazy relations going on.
It is. That's St. Louis. You know how St. Louis, like you know everybody, but y'all have taken that to a whole nother level. Okay. So thank you all for your time. Thank you all for your time. I can't wait to meet you all in real life someday soon. So
okay, and let us know, when this is going to be available, and I can share it in our Facebook group.
Okay, I sure will.
Take a look at.
I sure will. I'm gonna send to the editor. He gonna like kind of create a little chop. We're gonna create some for a social media and like a long form version too. So I'll make sure I let you know for sure.
Okay, and if you need photos or anything, to include with it, just let me know. And
sure will.
Tony has all the photos of both of us.
Okay. Yes. I know the call for photos.
Okay.
And medals if I need medals.
Tony's got it covered.
All right. All right, y'all. Have a great day. Have a great run, Tony and Lisa. Good luck training for Chicago.
Yeah, well, I'm training to qualify Boston, so I have a marathon in August. And then I have Chicago Marathon, Marine Corps
Is it the all
Marathon.
women's one?
I'm doing an all women's
Augusta?
marathon.
Oh, you are doing that.
That's in Savannah, but that's in like
Savannah,
November.
Savannah.
Yeah, Savannah. Yeah.
Okay, we have like 3 of our runners are running that too. Our women are running that
Really?
too.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there.
So
And
we're
just
training together.
and just between, since we're not being recorded anymore, right?
Oh, wait. I just stopped it.